Hello everybody, it's Mel. Thank you for joining me today for the mid-year book freakout tag. So this is a tag that most people in the bookish YouTube space do around this time of year, including myself. I've done it pretty much every year since I started my YouTube channel. It's just a really good way to check in, see how your reading's going, what are some favourite books, all of that sort of thing. The tag was originally created by my good friend Ellie from Earl Grey Books and also someone called Chammy from a channel that I've totally forgotten the name of because it doesn't exist anymore. So I will link Ellie's channel down below but not Chammy's channel. I'll also link Gavin from Gavin Reads It All down below as well because he has updated the tag a little bit, added some questions, and I'm using his edition. So it's mostly the same questions as Ellie and Chammy created with a few additions. I will put the questions down below in the description that I got from Gavin, but I'm actually deleting a few questions, just ones that don't actually make sense for me, that I don't feel are relevant. So all the questions, if you want to do this version of the tag, are down below, but like I said, I'm skipping a few. So anyway, that's what we're doing today, so let's just dive straight on in. So the first question that Gavin has added is actually, how has your reading gone so far this year? And my reading's going really well this year. I have had mostly really good books. I've been reading a lot of 4 and 5 star books. The lowest that I've rated is 3 stars, and I have only had, I think, 1 or 2 DNFs. So I think I'm going really, really well. My Goodreads goal for this year is 52 books. That is lower than I've had for a number of years now, basically since I started being a part of booktube. And that is because, as you all probably are aware, I had a baby at the end of last year. They are now 9 months old and they take a lot of time. I still do get some reading time, but they take a lot of time and I'm not always capable of reading or sitting and reading for long spurts like I used to. So anyway, I put 52 books as my goal because I figured that I should be able to read 1 book a week, and according to Goodreads, I'm currently on track. I have read 24 of 52 books, so I'm pretty happy with that. Alright, question number 2. What is the best book that you have read so far in 2025? So this was a bit tricky because, like I said, I've given out quite a few 4 and 5 stars this year so far, and I have been really enjoying what I've been reading. But, and it may be recency bias because it is literally the book I finished last, but the best book that I've read so far this year is The Hymn to Dionysus by Natasha Pulley, which I happen to have right here. So this is a sort of a mythology retelling of Dionysus. I say sort of because we don't actually follow Dionysus, we follow Phaedrus. Phaedrus is a Theban warrior who was brought up by one of the commanders of Theban army, and they were involved in the siege of Troy. So he has lived on ships, lived away from Thebes most of his life. On one visit back to Thebes, he meets he sees this baby and he convinces his commander to save the baby's life. Many years later, when he is, I think, in his early 20s or mid-20s, Dionysus comes to Thebes and a bunch of crazy things happen, and it's about what happened when Phaedrus was a kid and who this character Dionysus is. Is he a god? Is he a witch? What's going on? Why is everything going crazy? And yeah, I just really, really enjoyed this book. I thought the writing style was fantastic. I thought there were really funny moments. There were really poignant moments. There was a really lovely, gentle kind of, not even a romance, but like romantic happenings, if you will. And yeah, it was just very, very well written, really cleverly done, wove mythology together with this story of this boy who has experienced a lot of difficult things in his life, who has experienced a lot of trauma and doesn't really understand who he is or where he fits, doesn't really value himself or his own life, and it's about him trying to figure out how to value himself. But yeah, it's also a myth retelling, and like I said, it was just fantastic, beautifully written. Question number 3 is, what is the best sequel that you've read so far in 2025? I've actually not read that many sequels. I've been reading quite a few standalones and I have started a couple of series, and yeah, I haven't really read that many sequels, but I have got an answer to this question, and that is The Ending Fire by Sarah L. Arifi. This is the third and final book in the Ending Fire trilogy. I believe that it is somewhat vaguely African-inspired fantasy, although it's just sort of a general epic fantasy. We follow a variety of different characters in this fantasy world in which there are different types of colours of blood, and initially we follow a couple of different characters in this one part of the world. There are people with blue blood, people with red blood, and people with clear blood, and they are in a hierarchy. So the red-blooded people are the kind of upper class aristocracy, the blue-blooded people are kind of the working class, and the clear-blooded people are the servant class. And it's kind of about that society and a potential revolt and potential changes, and then the world is expanded as we go through the series. And yeah, again, I thought it was incredibly well written. I loved the characters. I loved the way they were written. I didn't necessarily always like them, but I loved the way they were written. I thought it was incredibly imaginative, quite different from many things that I had read in the fantasy space, and as you guys know, I read a lot of fantasy, so I felt like this was something a bit different, which was fantastic. And yeah, just really well written, amazing characters, obviously very well thought out, and I just really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great ending. I've heard other people say they haven't loved it as an ending, but I thought it worked as an ending, and it definitely closed things off really well in that trilogy for me. So yeah, that was my favourite trilogy, well, my favourite final to a trilogy, my favourite sequel that I read so far this year. Next question is, what is a new release that you haven't read yet but you want to? So a book that's been released in the first half of the year that you haven't got to yet, basically. So for this, I'm going to say We Bury Our Bones. Is that what it's called? Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil, I believe is what it's called. I do actually own the book, but it's not currently in this room. But yeah, Bury Your Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. So I have read two of V.E. Schwab's books. I've read Addie LaRue, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, I should say, and I've read Gallant. I really, really enjoyed both of those books. Addie LaRue is one of my favourite books of all time. I love the writing style. I thought it was fantastic. I have heard that if you like those two books, in particular Addie LaRue, you will like this latest V.E. Schwab book. It is another sort of historical fantasy with this time some vampires, which should be really interesting. The next question is, what is your most anticipated book for the second half of the year? And my answer for this one is Catabasis, I think is how you say the name of the book, by R.F. Kuang or Rebecca F. Kuang. This is a dark academia fantasy / gothic horror, I think. I believe that it is about two university students who somehow or other, either they send someone that they know to hell and they have to go and kind of retrieve them, or somehow like make a demon come onto this plane. Not really sure, but it's something along those lines. I don't really care because I loved Babel. I loved Yellowface. Babel's one of my favourite books of all time. I haven't reread it yet. I do intend to, but I'm anticipating that it will remain one of my favourite books of all time, and I'm just really excited to see what else R.F. Kuang can write and brings out. I've heard amazing things about people who have got advanced copies, and so I'm super excited to read that ASAP. I'm not 100% sure. I think it comes out in August, perhaps. Please let me know if you know particularly when it will come out in Australia, because I definitely want to get my hands on that book ASAP. The next question is, what is the worst book that you've read so far this year? Like I was saying before, I've been really fortunate this year. I feel like I have managed to find some books that have been really fantastic, and even the books that I haven't necessarily loved have still only been sort of 3 stars. I haven't really rated anything below 3 stars, I don't think. So I don't really have a worst book that I've read. However, I do have a book that could potentially count for the next question, I think, or one of the upcoming questions, which is a book that disappointed you. So I think it's both. It's the worst book and it disappointed me, and that is The Little Friend by Donna Tartt. Now, the reason why, well, I DNF'd the book. To be honest with you, it's probably not the worst book, and had I persevered, I probably would have enjoyed it. I feel, or gotten something out of it at least. I definitely could see that it was well written, and Donna Tartt, I think, is a fantastic author. I think she's a really amazing writer. But it was too long. It was too much bogged down in minutiae. It wasn't kind of getting to the point of the story. And I know Donna Tartt writes really long books. The Secret History was, it's not huge, but was fairly long for what it is. The Goldfinch was huge. This one was huge as well. And like I said, I just felt like it was really bogged down in minutiae, and it was moving really slowly. It wasn't kind of getting to the point, and I just really didn't want to pick it up. Every time I went to read it, I was kind of like, oh, I don't want to, I was kind of forcing myself to read it. Definitely can see how it could be considered a good book. I just didn't find it a particularly good book. Or for me anyway. So that's why it's disappointing, and I guess it sort of works for this question as well, because I found it to be the worst book that I read. Other people may disagree, and I was disappointed because I really enjoyed her other two books that I've read. So that kind of answers both questions. So yeah, the worst book, and then the next question is your biggest disappointment. So they have the same answer. So let's move to the next one. And that is, what is the biggest surprise of the year so far? And the biggest surprise for me is the Murderbot Diaries. Now, I've only read the first two, and they are All Systems Red and Artificial Condition, and I'm loving the series. I was anticipating liking it because I'd heard from so many people, and so many people who like sci-fi, so many people who don't necessarily like sci-fi. Just like the overall consensus is that it's a fantastic series. So I was expecting to like it, but I wasn't expecting to love it. And often what I find that things are really, 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 really hyped, I don't necessarily like as much as the hype would suggest, and then I get disappointed. And particularly given this is sci-fi, which in the written word is not necessarily my cup of tea. I do quite like sci-fi on screen, but for books, I don't necessarily. I mean, I've read sci-fi and there are some that I like, but in general, I don't tend to gravitate towards sci-fi. So I wasn't really sure what I'd make of this, but I absolutely loved it. It's so funny. It's so well written. I love the character of Murderbot. I love all of the different explorations of humans and humanity, and, you know, who we are and how we think, that is done through this AI. And I just thought it was incredibly well done. I'm super excited to continue with the series. So yeah, the biggest surprise for me in a positive way so far this year has been the Murderbot Diaries for sure. Specifically All Systems Red and Artificial Condition. Next question is, who is your favourite new author, which can either be a debut or new to you? Sorry, I'm reading off the screen, that's why I keep looking down here. I feel like I've got a couple of answers to this question. So the first one is definitely Natasha Pulley. Although I've only read the one book from her, I loved it so much. I'm super excited to read some more books from her. I do actually own another book of hers I've owned for a long time, and I keep not picking it up, but now that I've read a book of hers and really enjoyed it, it's been bumped up the list, and I would love to read some more books from her. Another person who I have read one book from this year and thoroughly enjoyed that book, and so therefore I would love to read some more of her stuff, is Sarah Beth Durst. So I read The Spell Shop and loved it, thought it was fantastic. And yeah, I believe Sarah Beth Durst writes a lot of different types of fantasy. I know that Elliot from Elliot Brooks really enjoys her as an author, so I definitely would like to read some more of her work. And then I really enjoyed the Ending Fire trilogy that I was talking about before by Sarah El-Arifi, so I'd love to read some more of her stuff, although I haven't heard the greatest things about her romantasy series, which I think is called Feybound, or the first book is Feybound anyway, so we'll see. But yeah, those are the main authors. Martha Wells and Naomi Novik are a couple of authors that I'm keen on reading some more of as well, but definitely Sarah Beth Durst and Natasha Pulley are the kind of ones that have blown me away and made me really excited to pick up more of their stuff. The next question is, who is your favourite new character? So I really like Murderbot from the Murderbot Diaries. I really like their characterization. I really like the way that they think about humanity because they are an AI. But in terms of just characters that I just enjoyed and had a lot of fun with and, you know, liked their kind of personality, I loved Kaz, the spider plant from the spell shop. So Kaz is a sentient spider plant, and I just thought that whole thing was really funny. I really liked his character. I thought that he was, yeah, just great. I really enjoyed that as a concept and his character in particular. So I'm going to go with Kaz and/or Murderbot. Next up, we have what book has made you cry so far this year? And I don't think any book has actually made me cry. Probably the closest to tearing up that I got would have been from the list of suspicious things, which you wouldn't have thought would have made a person cry from the type of book it is. It's a mystery thriller, but there is some stuff in there that happens that is about a teenage girl and her experiences with some trauma and you know, some difficult things, and I just thought that was really well done. And yeah, I don't think I cried, but I got pretty close in that one. We did have a question which isn't here, but I'm pretty sure we also have a book that's made you happy, and I've done really well this year. I've really enjoyed pretty much most of the books that I've read this year, so it's difficult to pick one that has made me happy. But I think the book that's probably made me the happiest to read was The Lady of the Lake by Jean Menzies, and the reason for that is because it's a fantastic book. I thoroughly enjoyed that one as well. Really, really well written, great characters, just that it was amazing. And it's making me happy because it's such a good book, and I don't know Jean at all, but because I've been watching her channel for a long time, I feel like I know her, and so I just feel really chuffed that the book is so good and that I had so much fun with it because I feel that sense of social connection to her. So yeah. Then we have what is the most beautiful book that you've bought so far or acquired so far this year? And again, I have really picked up a lot of really fantastic books, like in terms of to look at. Some have been absolutely gorgeous. I didn't go through the books that I bought this year because I stupidly didn't think to before I sat down. But yeah, I've bought some really pretty books, so it is a little bit difficult. But I'm going to pop a couple up on screen so you can see some of the beautiful covers that I have purchased this year. So then we have what are the books that you need to read by the end of the year. So I have a couple that are sitting right here because I am fairly close to the end of A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas, and I'm halfway through the Wartime Book Club by Kate Thompson. So I really, really need to finish both of those books off. I also need to read Surrender by Bono, which is a non-fiction about Bono and the band U2, which I started back in April and I have only read a very small amount, so I need to get on to that and read that book. And then I also need to finish Dungeon Crawler Carl. It had to go back to the library because there were holds on it and I hadn't finished it and I wasn't going to be able to finish it, so I had to put it back to the library and I put it on hold again, so I need to finish that when it comes back into the library. But yeah, those are the books that I need to read by the end of the year. Alright, then we have a few content questions. So the first one is the favourite video that you've made so far this year. I think I'm doing okay with videos this year. I wouldn't say that it made anything that was like the most amazing, oh my god, I'm so excited about this video I made. But, you know, I feel kind of proud whenever I put a video out because, especially at the moment, it's a bit tricky to find reading time and filming time. So I'm kind of feeling proud that I managed to put anything out and that I've stuck with it so far. Yeah, I really enjoy my series that I'm currently making of other booktuber made me do it. So where I pick a booktuber and I pick 3 or 4 books that I feel that I was inspired to read because of them, and then I read them and then I vlog it. That series I'm really enjoying. I've only put up one video for that, or only one someone made me do it, which was just Shana. I will link that down below. So I really enjoyed that one. I am in the middle of making another one of those, but it's taking a little bit longer than I anticipated, but that will go up soon, hopefully. And then I would like to get at least another one done by the end of the year, hopefully 2. But I'm really enjoying those series. It's just really fun to read books that I maybe wouldn't have picked up otherwise, which I find really interesting, and just think about why people might like particular things. And yeah, it's just really fun, I think. So hopefully you guys are enjoying those too. But yeah, those are my favorite videos I've made. Another question is any upcoming videos that you are excited to make. So like I said, more of those vlogs I'm excited about. And then last question is any channel goals. Last question I'll be answering. Any channel goals by the end of the year? And no, I don't really. My channel's kind of plateaued in terms of subscribers. I think that's partly because I took that time off, partly because I'm not uploading as often and I'm not doing as many reading sprints, I don't think. I think that's part of it as well. But I'm still happy with where everything is. I really love my channel. I love the community that I've got around me. I love making videos and I love reading. So as long as I'm enjoying it, then I'll keep doing it. Who knows how this is going to go in the future, you know, as baby gets older, etc. Like as I get older, what things happen, I don't know. But at the moment I'm really enjoying it. I'm not really looking at analytics. I'm not really looking at subscribers or views or anything. Like I do occasionally, but I used to check those things out quite often and I'm not really anymore because honestly, it's not why I do this. I do this because I enjoy the process and I do enjoy the interaction, absolutely. I'm not very good at commenting on other people, so I do apologize. But I am watching stuff, I'm engaged with the community and I really enjoy that, but I'm just trying to enjoy that. Trying to enjoy the things that I enjoy and not worry so much about the analytics and, you know, because there's only so much I can do towards that and the best thing I can do is make videos I like and I'm proud of. So hopefully, you know, that works. But anyway, that's the end of the tag. Like I said, there are a few questions that I've missed out on and they are listed down below anyway, should you wish to do those questions. But that's going to be it from me today. Please comment any thoughts that you have. Let me know what your favourite book so far this year is. Comment all that down below. If you'd like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then leave me an emoji of someone having a bit of a freak out. Whatever emoji speaks of freaking out to you. And yeah, that's everything that I wanted to talk to you about today. So thank you so much for joining me. I really, really do hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video and I will see you next time.